Lost a bet, I guess. Had to give up the jersey.
Jesus. What a cadaver? What? Let's get at that dude. Yeah, we can't feed that dude in Golden State. A Happy Meal wouldn't hurt the brother.
He had 51 points.
He would have had 55. He had a hamburger.
See the shots that I took, wet like I'm booked.
I'm slamming niggas like Shaquille. Shit is real.
I feel like Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen at my wedding. I been Steph Curry with the shot, been cooking with the sauce, Chef Curry with the pot, boy.
Shot Towns, B-Rose, moving the next, BK.
They call me the stuff on Marbury, a rap darling.
Ride around the rockets like, yeah, I mean, y'all niggas weak.
I might go to Marcus Cousins out in public.
That's like saying that the bad boy Piston team didn't need Isaiah.
Booming out in South Gwinnett like Lou Will, 6 man like Lou Will. Meets KD, ain't no nigga that can shoot like me. Black. My skin black like Mamba. Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, LeBron, you's a baller. But Jimmy Butler is your father.
I go from 6 to 23 like I'm LeBron.
I be ballin' like my nigga Mo.
What the does that mean, Kobe Bryant?
You're welcome.
What the is he talking about?
Hey, this is Brandon. Thanks for coming back. This is Basketbool episode 2. We are back after the Thanksgiving holiday. Took a little bit of a hiatus after one episode. It was that much of a struggle to record that we needed to take 2 weeks off. But yeah, we had a good time going back up to see family, and then basically just doing nothing for that weekend. But anyway, we're back now, and I want to talk about the Toronto Raptors first. And they are clearly, in my opinion, just starting off right out the gate with hot takes. I mean, it's not really a hot take, but here it is. Raptors are the best team in the East right now, and they're probably going to remain that way until the end of the regular season. They are probably going to be the team to come out of the East, probably play the Warriors if they end up doing what they're supposed to be doing. Once Steph Curry comes back from his injury, Draymond's suspension, Kevin Durant looks amazing. We're going to talk about him in a little bit. DeMarcus Cousins comes back from his injury and makes his Warrior debut, plays a couple months, and then goes to another team. But there's no other real team in the East that is currently on Toronto's level right now, like as of today, as of this moment. They are the runaway favorites right now, in my opinion. Philadelphia, I thought, was going to be that team with the addition of Jimmy. They traded for him. They traded for him about 2 or 3 weeks ago, pretty much right before we started recording that first episode. I'm saying we a lot when it's only fucking me. It's only me. I'm running the whole fucking show. Oh well, but yeah, yes, they're doing good, and Jimmy's doing his usual thing. He's hit 2 game winners already, and just intense games all around. He had great games leading up to those game winning shots, those go ahead buckets, Jimmy G buckets. But before the Jimmy trade, when they had Robert Covington and Saric still, especially Robert Covington, their defense, they had the 4th best defense in the league statistically. And since they got Butler, it's dipped all the way down to 27th. But the thing is, Jimmy's, like, we all know that Jimmy's a great defender, but Robert Covington, who's now on the Timberwolves, of course, he is probably one of the most underrated defenders in the league. I mean, the Sixers usually are, they have a lot of defensive players. They had Robert Covington, of course, and Joel Embiid is probably the best center in the league at the moment. Ben Simmons is coming into his own as maybe one of the next big superstars in the game. So they can play defense. Markelle Fultz to an extent, I guess. Talk about him as well. But yeah, I guess it's just gonna take a little time for Jimmy to completely mesh, because once Jimmy and Embiid and Simmons and all of them start rolling and they start picking up steam, as soon as they're ready to cocked, locked, and loaded, when April hits, the middle of April hits, and the playoffs are beginning, then that's all you need to worry about. The Lakers had a tough start this year. They have LeBron freaking James. And they were struggling. Now they seem to be getting it a little more. When LeBron went to the Heat, same thing. Wasn't having the best regular season ever. What you'd expect when you have a team of LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh in their fucking prime. But you put all those guys together and they got to figure it out. They've never played together before. Sometimes you put together a team and it just works, and sometimes you got to work for it. The Celtics put together their team in 2007 with KG and Ray Allen. Rondo, too. Scalabrine, the White Mamba, shout out. They put that team together in 07 and they won in 08. They put the team together on the Heat and, they made it to the finals, but they lost. They couldn't reach that end goal. They couldn't click and make it work. The Mavericks who they played that year in the finals were, they got there without a true superstar on the team. They had Dirk Nowitzki, who is a legend for sure. One of the greatest players of all time, one of the greatest scorers of all time. He's influenced a lot of power forwards who like to shoot the ball, especially European ones, especially ones that come from the EuroLeague. They didn't have that bona fide star like a LeBron or a Kobe or a Wade, so they relied on the whole team to put forth the effort, like the Pistons in 2004. Yeah, Chauncey was good. Ben Wallace was good. Rip Hamilton was good. I don't know if they were ever considered the best. Same thing with the Mavericks. And Dirk might have been considered the best at one point, but at this point his career was just beginning to start to just wind down and become more of the veteran leader, kind of like Tim Duncan, kind of like Kevin Garnett. You're still playing, you're still contributing, you're still putting up impressive numbers, really. But it's just time. It's your time is winding down, and you know it. Dwayne Wade's coming off the bench right now for the Heat. This is his last season. Father Time's undefeated. But yeah, the Sixers will be fine. They'll figure it out. Raptors are figuring it out very quickly. Kawhi Leonard seems to be happy. He seems to be genuinely happy. It's actually kind of cool. And if you know anything about Kawhi Leonard, so let me just explain it. Kawhi Leonard is one of the best players in the league. He's probably the third best small forward behind LeBron and KD. Arguably, I'd say he's number 3. But he's not very flashy. He doesn't say a whole lot. He doesn't do a whole lot. Doesn't show a lot of emotion usually. He's kind of like Tim Duncan, his former teammate in San Antonio. It's kind of funny how Tim Duncan was that player for so long, just stoic and didn't say anything. And then Kawhi comes along and he's supposed to be the face of the franchise, and it's just the same player, not the same player, but the same personality. But then Popovich and Tony Parker pissed him off and they drove him out of town. But shit happens. What are you gonna do? He seems to be enjoying where he's at right now. Just gotta see if he stays next year. Once his contract is up, see if he might want to go to LA with LeBron or go somewhere else a little more flashy. I mean, Toronto is becoming known as a big basketball city. That's thanks to the recent resurgence of the Raptors, thanks to DeRozan and Ibaka, Valanciunas, Lowry, and all them. Now, hopefully, Kawhi Leonard can be that dude and take his own team to the finals. Of course, he'll have the help with Lowry and Siakam and whatnot. But he's the bona fide star this time. I think in 2014, when the Spurs won, he was just coming into it. Once the finals were over and he won the trophy, that offseason, going into that season, it's all right, Kawhi is fucking here. All right, he's showing it. He's continuing to show it when the league isn't even going on. But yeah, this is big for Kawhi. Very interesting player, very interesting guy. So, Kevin Durant on the talking about the Golden State Warriors. They had a little bit of an internal struggle a week or two ago. Draymond Green confronted Kevin Durant and called him a bitch and told him, "Leave, we don't need you, we won without you." And Kevin Durant responded by just balling the fuck out. But in regards to their confrontation, they're good now. They squashed whatever beef they were dealing with. I mean, when that happened, the team was already struggling. Stephen Curry was still out with the injury, and he's actually still out to this day. He should be coming back soon, but nobody really knows an exact date for sure. So they had lost something like 6 straight, like 5 out of 6. I think it was 6 straight. It's just crazy for the Golden State Warriors. This is like the NBA's golden calf right now. Nothing. They don't want anything to happen to the Warriors. You know how many kids are wearing fucking Steph Curry and Kevin Durant jerseys? Even Klay Thompson. But Steph and Kevin Durant are just global basketball icons. Same thing with Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose is still huge in China. You would think it's 2011 if you go there. Derrick Rose goes to China a lot with Adidas. He's got a big fan base out there. He's got a big fan base here too in America. But Kevin Durant was a man on fire the other night against the Raptors. Scored 51 fucking points. He was just pulling up from anywhere, and he was just like here's my arm, throwing the ball. Screw it. Oh, it went in? Yeah, I fucking knew it. What do you think I threw it in for? It was like 116, 113. Raptors were up. Kevin Durant is just smothered in the corner. And he turns around and hoists up a 3. Just a fucking prayer shot, and it just swishes. They played in Toronto when the place went bananas. That's how big the Warriors are. They can make an away game feel like a home game. Well, that's what the Heat was. That's what the Heat were like. That's what the Lakers were like. Hey, everybody wants a piece of you when you're winning. But yeah, Kevin Durant showed again why he's probably the best player in the NBA, not named LeBron James. I mean, the dude's basically a 7-foot guard. The way he moves is just and the fact that he's just so slender, and he just zigs and zags by everybody. He's 7 feet tall and he moves like Russell Westbrook. Dude's a monster. And Giannis Antetokounmpo is basically Kevin Durant with muscles, and he's fucking scary too. He could be the best player in the NBA soon. He's having an MVP fucking season. The Milwaukee Bucks are doing pretty damn good. Chris Middleton's playing pretty well. Brogdon, Bledsoe, Brook Lopez. Brook Lopez was a nice signing for them. I really like Brook Lopez. I'm surprised the Lakers let him walk. I mean, JaVale McGee is doing fine for him, but wouldn't you rather have Brook Lopez with that team you're trying to put together? I guess they were really committed to making the meme team, which I respect. Nothing wrong with doing it for the memes. It's LeBron's first season. They're probably not going to win anyway, so they probably figured, fuck it. Also, they were like, the Warriors signed DeMarcus Cousins. It's over. But now, the Warriors are a wild card, but they're probably still going to make it. They're probably still going to make it to the finals. But yeah, Giannis is probably in the front runner for MVP. Kevin Durant's probably working his way up there with his recent resurgence. Kawhi too. Maybe Kemba Walker. Shaq actually said Giannis, sorry. He's more dominant than he was. And he's gonna be even more dominant. That's a lot of praise coming from fucking Shaq because he was unstoppable. 7'1", like 350. How big was Shaq? At least 350. Shaq's 46. God damn. 7'1", 325. Jesus. Man, I was off. I was over. Shit. Shaq is just a mammoth fucking person. Shaq is just so fucking big. When he stands next to anybody, it just looks like it just looks like you're tripping. You're not even looking at something that's real. Because you watch the games on TV, and you even go to a game, and you know the guys are 7 feet tall. You know the guys are 6'8", but you don't really get that feeling until you're actually like up close and personal. Like I'm tall. Like I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'4", but I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go in an NBA locker room and feel like a dwarf. It's insane. But yeah, Shaq had the perfect body for an NBA center in the 1990s. And the early 2000s, for that matter. Bucks beat the Bulls the other night. Chris Middleton hit a game-winning three. I think, they were tied. They were going to go to overtime, and Chris Middleton just pulled up. And Justin Holiday had a good look, but it clanked. And it's probably for the best. The better chance the Bulls have of getting Zion Williamson, the better, in my opinion. But Zach LaVine's still doing his thing. As long as he shows growth and progression and justifies that $80 million contract, which I believe he is, and I believe I think, they definitely signed him off of potential and because he was the centerpiece in the Jimmy Butler trade, and Garpax didn't want to look like a bunch of punk bitches anymore. Again. So they figured they had to keep him. The Kings offered him that deal with the offer sheet because he was a restricted free agent. Restricted free agent means that the team that drafts you basically has the right to hold on to you if they please, even though another team offers you a contract. The NFL has the same thing. I'm not too sure about the NHL or MLB. But yeah, the Bulls matched the offer, and LaVine was happy to be here, I guess. He seems happy to be here now for sure. Bulls just got to get Lauri Markkanen back, and then maybe we can see what kind of team we're gonna have going forward and into next season. And as a Bulls fan, I really don't know how to feel about Jabari Parker because he puts up big numbers. He really does know how to score the ball, and he's good at it. It's just he doesn't play any defense. Sometimes he just gives no effort in rebounding the ball, in going the extra mile to maybe stop a fast break or stop an extra bucket. And he even said in one of his opening press conferences, like, I'm not getting paid to play defense. I'm not gonna start now. It's like could you imagine if Tom Thibodeau was still the fucking coach? Jabari Parker wouldn't even be on the fucking team anymore. He'd be at the end of the bench with Tyler Ulis and all them. See, I don't even know who's on the end of the bench anymore because we've cleared it with all the injuries. We've reached the bottom of the bench. There's nobody like irrelevant anymore. Everybody's playing. Bobby Portis was looking good. They got to get him back. Chris Dunn, he played one game. But yeah, Jabari Parker, I don't know if he's going to be on the team beyond this season, but if he does, it's probably going to be in some kind of little more limited role. Maybe like what he's doing now on the bench. Maybe a little less. Especially if he's going to be playing power forward mostly. And if he can't play a small forward anymore, like Horbig pretty much believes at this point, then the homecoming was futile. But he gave it a shot. He made his money, and now he can go do whatever he wants. He can go to another team and have their fan base question his gameplay and the signing, just like we are right now. Markelle Fultz, another young player who seemingly had a lot of potential coming into the league, but hasn't really figured it out. And this is only his second season, but he's got a shoulder injury in his shooting shoulder, and his shooting form before was already fucked up. It was already ugly as hell. It was already ugly like Joakim Noah's shot, Lonzo's shot, Sean Marion's shot. Bill Cartwright, just these awful fucking forms. Some of them go in, though. Ray Allen's shot was flat as fuck. But he's one of the best shooters of all time. So there's nothing to argue about that. But the 76ers are apparently looking to get rid of him. Drafted him number 1 overall. Missed 68 games last season. And not playing again this year very much due to injuries and the fact that he's just been flat out bad. You know, I don't know if you can be put on the injured reserve for bad, but it's definitely an option I would consider if I was the commissioner. In a perfect world, you know, whatever. But yeah, the Suns are apparently interested. They need a point guard. And if Markelle Fultz just needs a change of scenery and just time to rehab his shoulder and get right, you know, then, you know, like 2 years out of the NBA isn't that big of a deal anymore from the history that I've seen, because Joel Embiid did not play at all for 2 years, and then he came in and just immediately started dominating, and now he's arguably the best center in the league. He's the best center in the league in my opinion. Derrick Rose missed damn near 2 years. He came back and he definitely wasn't, you know, the MVP in 2011 Derrick Rose, but he still put up solid numbers. His defense was lacking, and that was definitely his biggest downfall when he came back. His defense was lacking, and his three-point shot was non-existent. And then his career almost died in Cleveland, and then it got revived in Minnesota. And now he seems to be back on track and finally found some basketball peace. But yeah, Markelle Fultz, his days in Philly are numbered, and it's only a matter of time before he finds a new home. Probably the Phoenix Suns, maybe the Chicago Bulls. There's some fans that want that to happen. If the price was right, if it's a flyer on Fultz, I don't want to give up any of our established players for the potential. You know, that's a high risk, high reward trade. But somebody was saying Antonio Blakeney and maybe a second rounder. I don't know if that would fly, but it's definitely something that I would lean towards if I was the GM. And finally, before we wrap this up, Gregg Popovich, of course, coach of the San Antonio Spurs, arguably the greatest coach of all time. He made an interesting comment recently that I sort of agree with, and it was regarding the state of the NBA and how the game is played in 2018. And if you don't know, the game has basically become, for better or worse, in your opinion, run up the floor and either hit a three-point shot immediately or just drive to the lane and get a layup. That's what the Rockets do. The Warriors are definitely a three-point shooting team, primarily. And that's their team, and that's how they've won. They have amazing three-point shooting. They can score the ball. You know, you might not like it, but it works. And Gregg Popovich, you know, the Spurs have always been a more, you know, traditional, like, fundamental basketball team. You know, they preach the fundamentals, the intangibles, and just like the finer intricacies of the game, I guess. You know, old kind of old school basketball, air quote. But the standout quote Gregg Popovich was saying, among, you know, it's all three-point shooting and there's no passing the ball, he said, there's no basketball anymore. There's just no basketball anymore. Which is very interesting, because you think that just a couple years ago, like, it was very important it was very important to have a defensive team, especially in the Eastern Conference. The Chicago Bulls had a fantastic defense. The Celtics had one. The Heat had their ups and downs. Spurs were always great defensively. The Indiana Pacers in 2013 Absolutely. And I still like to see defense. You know, it's not like I love watching games where they score 80 points, but that's just part of the game. You get what you get. You're watching a live performance. Primarily I'd like to see a game around like 100, 110 points. Football, 30 points probably. Of course, watching a fucking 50-50 shootout like the Saints and the Chiefs is awesome every once in a while. And even like a 6-3 defensive just fucking slugfest is pretty cool. Of course, I love watching the Bears this fucking season. Khalil Mack got the best defense, of course. Defense in football is a little different, but still, same principle. Some people weren't happy with the Saints-Chiefs game, and a lot of people are happy that the Bears' defense is really good. So the NFL seems to be on the defense train right now. But yeah, you just show me a good game. Good plays, no penalties, no bullshit. Good performances by fucking everybody. Just give me consistent games and good teams and good players. But yeah, there's basically not defense isn't preached anymore. Like Tom Thibodeau, of course, is a proponent, an advocate for defense. Popovich, Doc Rivers. Defense isn't dead, but it's currently not the hot thing to definitely not the hot thing to focus on. Offense is the thing to do right now. That's what the NBA is in 2018. It's just the way it is. The Warriors you could probably thank the Warriors for that at the end of the day, but what are you going to do? The NBA is probably bigger right now than it's ever been, and I'm sure as hell not going to stop watching. So I hope you don't stop listening, because hopefully I'm going to get this back on track to a weekly thing, and that's the show for this week. And I'm Brandon Orlowski once again. You can find me online at Brandon Orlowski. You can find Basketbool on Twitter. It's at Basketboolin. Same, just Basketbool and then IN, Boolin. Facebook, Basketbool. It's on Instagram as well. You can find that on Instagram. My handle for everything is at Brandon Orlowski. But that's the show. Once again, Brandon Orlowski. This is Basketbool. We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening. Peace.
Take that for data.
Also, shout out Joakim Noah to the Grizzlies. Get paid, boy.